Yeah, this is, I think, yes, it's a multi-screen video work, which is combined with my personal archive. And so you see here lots of books, also records, some objects, like dolls also, or my record player. And on the screens you have also mostly found footage, which are also references to the personal archive. I mean the personal archive, which is also, you could say, kind of a collective archive or a collective memory, I would say. At a certain period in life, lots of people were looking at some special programs, like more specific programs. So this is not only personal, but I could even talk of a collective archive. So my personal archive is also a collective archive. And what you see is, for example, on this screen, there you have the map of the world. And if you look at Africa, then actually on most maps it's less big than it should be. So it's not the real, how do you say it, like it's not a real size, it's not the correct dimensions, and especially when you have it in combination with Europe, which also, or you could also say that Europe doesn't have the right dimensions. It looks much bigger, and this is of course always the image that Europe likes to have of itself. It's really a big country, it's the center of the world, and it's also big, and it has lots of power, and it's important, and it's, for me, also corresponds a little bit also to like a kind of being arrogant, seeing itself as something good, beautiful, yeah, the self-image of Europe, which is much better than it actually is in reality, because in reality Europe is not that beautiful in what it did or what it is doing now. So in the screen, if you move, what I do here, I move Congo to Europe, and then you see that Congo, which is quite a big country on the map, but still it becomes much bigger when you move it to Europe, and then you see that it's actually as big as west of Europe, west and south of Europe. And I took Congo here because I am Belgian, and so we have this relationship, of course, with Congo. We colonized Congo, and it was also a very violent colonization. One of the most, every colonization was violent, but we were known for being very, very violent. Yes, so here you have also one of our famous comics. I don't know actually how you say it. It's Kuifje Tintin. In French it's Tintin, and it's from our kind of famous cartoonist. And so here you see also that he goes to Africa, and then of course, but this is not like this, it's not only this one comic, it's like most of them are like that. Once there is a reference to Africa or to other people, like not Belgian, non-European people, then it becomes it comes with lots of stereotypes, and it's also very humiliating and very violent. Yeah. So Toni Morrison book The Bluest Eye is, as the title also says, this black girl who wants to have blue eyes because she thinks that once she has blue eyes, her life will be much easier, much more beautiful, and also that she actually thinks that she is the one who causes the problems. So she is like only there to having problems. So if she would not be there, the world would be much nicer, and everything would be good, great, no problems, and so on. And it remembers of myself because when I was younger, I also wanted to have blue eyes. My mother actually, she took profit of it because she told me that if you want to have blue eyes, you should eat lots of vegetables. And like this, how do you say it, carrots? And then you will have also blue eyes. But okay, so it means that I was really busy with having these blue eyes. And
so did it work? Did you eat a lot of vegetables?
I did eat a lot of vegetables for this, yes, of course. I did everything for this. Because I saw also in my school or like in my environment was quite white. So I wanted to be actually like everyone else. I don't want it to be different from the others. And then, of course, when you watch television, like everything that is beautiful is always white. And for me, it's very important. It's also what Toni Morrison also does is she doesn't hide the violence because, of course, there is lots of violence in this book, lots of violence in black communities. Not to say that, okay, black people are violent, but because this is this is the effect on people. When you are violent with people, then they become violent themselves. This is already a little bit what we are seeing now, because I think lots of people now are trying to be very conscious, and they are trying also, like there is like this album of this, I don't know if you did see the cover of the album, the design of the album of, I don't know if I can take it. It's this song, Do They Know It's Christmas, which is part of one of the films. And this is actually a song for solidarity with Africa, because Africa there is no food, they're starving, and so on. So they make this song with lots of famous singers. And then they make an album, but the album itself is very racist. And I don't think that people would do this today. I hope so, actually. So it's a red album with a happy family, a white family with Christmas, and everything is red and green. And then you have two black children on the album who are naked and who are very thin because they are starving, actually. They're almost dead because they don't have food. And do they know, those two children, of course, do they know that it's Christmas and they are sitting at the table with lots of food? So this is a very violent, we don't think about this, but this is actually very violent. And also it keeps the images that we have of other people. Yeah, also maybe, for also pop culture, I also use pop culture or like popular culture because first of all, I like popular culture, and it's also something that we have in common, actually. So when you watch the found footage, for example, you will recognize something. You will recognize David Bowie or Meryl Streep or Shirley Temple, and I think it's very important if you want to understand this work also, that you have a connection with it, and that you can also see that it maybe concerns also yourself. And that's also why I like to use this found footage in the first place. It's something like a manual. It helps you actually to make a step into understanding racism, for example. It can help you. So to make the difficult content more easy, I would say. Mm-hmm. And it's also of course found footage because what is happening in history has still the influence now. And I believe that if we want to create like a new kind of memory, a collective memory, then I think it's important just to move certain links that are maybe obvious, that were linked, which should not be linked. And then we have, maybe we can try to construct or to have a new collective memory, because this is how this is our cultural archive, which is in our head. And this means that when we see a black person, we think that they are more dangerous. So if we see at night a black person in the street and you are alone, you will be probably much more scared than when it's a white person. This is in our head, and we have to change it. It's not normal, but I mean, this happens to all of us, and we need to change it. That's why I also want to change in this collective memory, because our memory is built on all the images that we have collected for years and years, and actually I would even say centuries and centuries, because before there were even not images, but they were still existing. So, because we have, for example, this figure, which is a very popular figure in Belgium. It's called Sinterklaas and Black Pete, and it's like for children actually, because this Sinterklaas, which is an old white man who comes with presents, he also has servants, and those are black people. And in reality, they are played by white people, and they just paint the faces black. And we have this kind of a tradition. And what is more, that this person, he comes with a boat. So he comes with a boat, and in this boat you have many servants working there. And this is of course a reference also to the slaves, because this goes back to, I don't know which time, that we also had the slaves coming to Europe. And on boat, because we always think that they went to the United States, and this is true. This is also part, of course, the United States is so much part of our European cultural history. We can't deny this. But it's not only United States. Anyway, the United States is a European project. You know, it's Europe that's in the United States. So there is also, anyway, a link with Europe. And you have this you have like even some paintings, you have like sometimes black persons there. And that's because they also came, mostly they even came from Morocco. They were kind of slaves in Morocco, because in Morocco we also have the slave history, of course, with Arabs. So, and this figure, this I would even say iconic for Belgium figure, is still existing now, and our children are growing up with this, while it's very easy to change this figure. Yeah, because lots of people say like, no, but this is for children, and children are not racist, and why do you say this? And we don't see a slave in this. And I always liked, because this is one of the quotes, is I always liked Black Pete. Yeah, okay, but it doesn't mean because it's not about you, no, it's about this common this common archive that we are dealing with. And so I think if you want to have a party for children, then you also have to think about all the children and include everybody, that everybody can enjoy this party. Because people are, like when they are black children, they are called Black Pete sometimes. Yes, as an insult, you see? So it's not something that we are like we are difficult and we want to change this, and no, it's like a real situation. And you could say, because then people say like, yeah, but some other problems are more important, like unemployment is more important, which I could say, yes, I could agree with this, that it's more important, but we know also, this is the cultural archive, we know that if as a black person you want to have a job, you have less chance. So this is all together. And for me, this is also one of the purposes that I make this work, is also that by changing these images of other people, maybe we can also give more power to them. Because this is, of course, the people who are in power, they are making and controlling the images. Because there is also, like when I say that people of color are not wanted, like that there is lots of racism, and that being racist or racism also is equal to violence. It's always something violent. And then when I was making this work, actually, I discovered actually that it was not something that's only in my head, or that it's just a feeling, like I feel that I'm not wanted. First of all, it's happening now. It's happening, you could even say that it's happening at this moment, for example, in Greece, where they kill children because they don't want those people to come to our continent. Also because they think that that their values are less than our values, which means that they are less than us. And so you can even kill them. And then I discovered also that the contraception, the pill, had also this racism. So racism was also one of the motors, how do you say it, like driving force to have this pill, not because of women's rights, because as we know today we are all still struggling to have women's rights. So this was not the most important thing, to have a pill so that a woman can control her own body, which is normal that she can control her own body, but this was not the most important. The most important was that if we have this pill, then we can control the birth of people we don't like, as for example black people, but it can also be handicapped people or poor people actually. And so the pill was not only for them, especially for them, it was sometimes also given by a doctor, like when black people went to the doctor, they got the pill immediately. So like, okay, now they're safe. Also, behind all this is also this thing about when we think about black women, there is also something which has a connection with sex or animals. And we always also have these negative things about, we also see it in our popular culture actually. And so there was also this thing behind that, oh no, they will have lots of children because they already have lots of children, so let's give them the pill. And they also did, not only they gave them the pill, but they also, in the beginning, they did tests on them. Because if you do a test, yes, if you do a test, then you know that it can be dangerous also, that something can happen with your body. But as your body is less important, so that's okay to do this test. And for me, it was also important to have this reference to guinea pigs, because they were used as guinea pigs for the pill. But for me, when I look at the situation today and diversity today, I see that we try to do it in a different way now. But still we use black people, people of color, Muslims, the other, I would say, they are still a little bit used as guinea pigs. Like, if you need them, you take them. If you don't need them, you go them away. It's a little bit, I make sometimes also the reference to plants, because we like to have plants as decoration for our house. We give them water, sometimes too much. It's what we think that they need. Okay, they need now lots of water, so we give them water. But no, they don't. But they can't decide for themselves. So I mean, it's a very, a very racist way of working on diversity.
And not really giving someone a voice.
I think you need positive discrimination, but I think it's not how at the end how you do it. It's in a racist way, because you don't look at what they need or what they can do, but that you think that you need for yourself. And so, yeah. And so one of the screens is also about actually it's a direct link to Toni Morrison's book, where this black girl doesn't like herself because she's black. And as you see, we have also this Moroccan carpet, and as I told you, I am trying to add some other archive that normally isn't seen as archive, which for me is also this carpet, because in the carpet, mostly the women who make these carpets, they also weave messages in it. So actually you can read also carpets if you want. And I added there on the corner, there is a paper with the alphabet. So people can also take this alphabet and next time that they go to buy, I don't know, an exotic or an Oriental or a Moroccan carpet, they should read what's on the carpet.
What kind of messages are on this carpet?
Which kind of messages? Like, it's a lot about, actually it's a lot about what the women themselves are dealing with or talking about while they were weaving. And so it's a lot about the husbands, about women, about nature, about marriage, about what they make for dinner or things like this. So it's really, it's really funny. And for me it's important because the archive of Africa is also made by white people actually, and so it's difficult to find the real archive. So this is of course what we say Orientalism. And it's really difficult, I feel still today, it's really difficult to change the Orientalism, this gaze actually, this white imagery. It's very difficult to change. For me myself, when people come to interview me, when they want to write an article about my work, for example, they want to drink tea or to go, like only 2 weeks ago I had an interview and I had also my work in Kunsthal Ghent in Belgium, and I told the photographer, I said like, oh, but we can have maybe a picture with my work. And then just before the interview, just before our meeting, he was a little bit nervous and he called me, he said like, I don't think it's a good idea to have your picture with your work, because you work with problems of migrant people. Maybe we should go to Molenbeek, which is in Brussels and where lots of migrants live, and maybe we should take pictures there on the local market. And this is what is happening all the time. This is still the Orientalism that is still here today, that people, the other, as we say, are not able to decide from themselves, for themselves, are not able to change if they want, or like changing actually. So this is still this gaze that is there, and it's, I don't know, it's so a hard job to get rid of this. And I think this installation tries also to make people see a little bit more. So I hope actually that the exotism and the exploitation that is always hidden, of course, in all the archive, I want, with bringing together different found footages, I try to make this a little bit more visible, so that it's also sometimes a little bit painful. For example, the quotes that I've put everywhere, it's also quotes from my friends. And so I think when they see this work, it's very personal, but when they see it, then they will maybe recognize themselves, but it's not personal in a way that it's only my friend who said it by accident. It's very political, because it's what people tell me all the time, and that's why I've put them there. But I mean, it's very painful to see it, but I think it's what we need also. We need a little bit this pain, we need a little bit to be angry, because when we are angry, it's not, people say like when you're angry, it doesn't matter, you're not going to change anything. But I think that if we believe, if we listen to people who are angry, then we got a lot of information. And with this information, we can do a lot. Instead of creating this kind of empathy, and I try to create.
Some irritation also, not just lock it away in a safe bubble, the critique, but really to irritate people and get
yes.
under their skin, as you say.
Yes, so that you can't, or you, I don't know, so it's a kind of a painful experience, which was it also for me, and also because I think it makes people also move, which like empathy is not, it makes you less political, makes you actually, it's depoliticizing you, because if you have, I would say empathy can be of course good, but it's not enough for me. Because with empathy, you feel easy. You say like, okay, it's fine. I think it's also not so good to have black Pete, but I want people to change and to really be active, because otherwise we will not make, we will always stay a little bit on the same level.